welcome back to the whole bucket. This is a December Friendship Bracelet Day and the reveal of whatever happened to Vintage Meets Modern Day, because boy, that was a big fat mess. I'll show you in a little while if it ever worked out though. That was a tease. Oh. Anyway, I have to do this part of today's first because, where did it go? Look at it, it's stuck to the book. I have to do part of today's first because it needs dry time. Of course it has a piece of glitter on it because everything in this room has a piece of glitter on it because I used glitter once. Come on, there we go. I don't really want a piece of glitter right there, so... So today we're going to work with some mixed media concepts and stuff that I don't actually use very often. So hopefully there's some learning going on here. I mean, that's a thing, right? And the first thing I want to do for today is, well, first introduce the medium I'm using first. I have just the cardstock page from the journal, right? I have pre-gessoed it and it's mostly dry. It's still slightly tacky. I'm not sure if I'm going to regret that, but I want to move on. I'm using infusions. This one's called In the Navy and this one is called the Sage. And the very first thing I'm going to do on this page is try to create a sky to ground and a ground to sky situation. So infusions are a highly pigmented dust that is water activated, and it has 2 levels of activation. I think I have way enough on here. It has 2 layers of activation in that the pigment activates fairly quickly, but then it has walnut crystals in that activate slower. So what it amounts to is the longer you let this product react with water, the more the walnut shades come out. And what that does is it turns it more toward the brown. I don't care that this stuff is going to turn toward the brown. There are a couple of things that I'm going to watch for. One is how these things work, so I learn for the future. And 2 is how long the crystals need to turn brown. Because look at that, not very long really. There's a lot of brown, and this is the blue color. I think I'm going to sprinkle some more blue on top because I want some more blue right there and there and there and there and there and there. I wish I knew what it meant by walnut crystals. Like, does that mean actually pieces of wood? What is a walnut crystal? I'm not sure. In any case, these have walnut crystals. I have a piece of cardstock on the side that I'm going to use probably for all the different layers of this little exercise we're doing, because I don't want to waste this. I will save this for collage fodder or background paper or something. Also, I am working on a puppy pad, which I have found to be one of the handiest art room products for when I'm making a big fat mess. I could add less water so there's faster dry time and less reaction, but the reason I don't care about how much brown happens today is because this is all supposed to be foresty today, so I'm creating a foresty background. Brown, blue, green, all makes sense. Now we're going to go to the bottom, and I'm going to salt shaker or tap. There we go, that works better. And I'm going 2/3 of the way up with the green. And again, I think I'm putting on way more than you need. This stuff really goes far. But I'm not used to it, and I don't trust it, and, you know, I will learn it, and I will trust it more as I learn it, I'm sure. And I want this to move again. One of the things that I typically fail at, I understand in art, fail is your own judgment, not other people's necessarily, but one of the things I fail at a lot when I'm creating my own art is I overmix, I overprocess. It's a little funny because it's also one of my biggest flaws in cooking. Things that take the least work or require the least work are usually the things that I don't cook very well. Also, things that require the longest cooking attention time. Right? So what I mean by that is things that you have to stand and stir or watch for a very long time. I have very little patience, and if I'm there, I want to fuss with stuff, and I over fuss, and I don't know. I over fuss, and that's the same with this kind of thing. I over fuss. I want more green. I want more green. Look at already I'm making a big fat mess. My favorite way to be. I'm going to try taking my brush and just splashing some water. This is really the wrong brush to be splashing with. That's all right. Whoops. Okay, I'm not splashing, I'm puddling. There we go. Need to stand this up and let this run down. I don't mind the dirt. I really wanted more grass, but it's fine. It's fine. It'll be fine. There we go. I think I'm going to leave this as the background, and I need to set this aside to dry. So that didn't take long at all, and now it's time for the reveal. If you watched my previous video, Vintage Meets Modern, you'll know that I was insane levels of frustrated, and it wasn't working out, and I had to end the video on a cliffhanger, and I want you to know before I turn the page that I ripped the whole thing apart twice. It took me several hours to get where it is, and I still don't know that I'm happy with it. So, I mean, we'll figure it out, I guess. But your opinions or ideas to repair, if you believe there's more repair work to be done, will be valued. I appreciate opinions, right? Even if they're not the most positive. I hope that you will be nice if you have not such glowing reviews, but oh, shoot. I do believe I may have compromised the pocket. Okay, I'll deal with that later. Anyways, here comes the reveal. This took 2 more complete tear aparts, many hours of figuring out what the heck I wanted to do and how to do it, and it only came together when the story in my brain continued to come together. So here it is, the finished product. Okay, so as you remember, Effie is babysitting Ember's kids and giving Ember some time off. And Grandma thinks she might be needed and she should come and join in the babysitting and help. Because, I mean, Effie's a different kind of creature. And how do we know Effie can take care of baby ravens? And you know, grandmas do that. That's what grandmas are for. I'm sure that's what they're for. So sure enough, Grandma showed up and is hanging out with the kids, and the kids are talking about, "You're just out of touch, Grandma. You're too old." And Grandma's um saying, "You guys just don't understand. You guys are too new. You haven't learned yet." Vintage meets modern. That's my take on vintage meets modern. And where is Effie through this whole thing? Well, he's in there. He's in his house, peeking out the window, making tea for everybody because he really just didn't want to get judged by Grandma. He was warned that maybe Grandma might say things not very nice, although he's finding her delightful, really. But he's in his kitchen, and he's hanging out in there, and he is lost in some daydreams. He's up to his knees in daydreams of teacups and fairies and spring and flowers and whatever. Anyways, this turned into a journaling card of sorts. And I just remembered something else I want to put on this card. So, done for me is never actually done, just to let you know. But look, I did get this tag to go in properly. So I won that battle, and I did get it to sit properly. You can adjust it a little bit side to side and up and down, and no matter how you adjust it, his eyes and face are still peeking out the window. So very happy with that in the end. That's part of what took tearing apart a couple of different times, getting that idea to work right. And where was Ember through this whole thing? Well, Remy decided to get involved with the cause and took Ember off to the fairy friends to have a spa day. So Ember is off getting beautified with the fairies. And there's a journaling space for the Ember card. And which way does it go? It folds out. This is a very delicate paper that is a ginger scrap. But it's like a rice paper. But it's for calligraphy, I think. So it should make for nice writing for somebody. Whatever happens to this journal thing. I'm not even sure what it's going to be when it's done. Anyways, there's writing space in there too. And I ended up adding a little cluster up here that just says all the happy things. So there's Effie dreaming about all the happy things. The babies, the grandma, helping Ember, tea, whatever. I have something I want to say about Defemmerember. I just want anybody who is participating or who chooses to participate at their own pace and on their own time, or in their own time at their own pace. There we go. Effie is not required. The prompts can be interpreted any way you choose, or they don't need to be in it. If it says a butterfly and 3 torn things, you can just have a butterfly if you want. Or maybe you don't like butterflies. Maybe you want to rip some stuff up. Then just use the 3 torn things. Salvaged birds, what the heck is that? Maybe you just want to salvage some stuff. Just do that. Maybe you just want birds. Just use the birds. What am I saying? I'm saying a Defemmerember is not about stress. It's about inspiration. Use this stuff and this time the way it works for you. And if it doesn't work for you, fine. I'm not speaking for Louisa and Barbara. I'm just reiterating things that they've said about this project. And I just want anybody who wishes to participate and thinks maybe they can't because they can't compete or they can't translate the prompts, or whatever. We're not in competition with Barbara and Louisa, and we're not trying to do something that is out of our wheelhouse. Although I recommend push your comfort zone a little bit, or as much as you want to, obviously, but if you can push it even a tiny bit, that's great, because it's kind of it breeds more creativity, right? Yeah, that's all I really want to say. Give this a shot, and don't think that there's anything intimidating about it. It's not supposed to be intimidating in any way, shape, or form. You make it what you want it to be and what you need it to be art-wise. And that's all there is to that. Maybe that's the reason I couldn't get the paper in. It's already in there. The one I tried to push in here, even though it wouldn't fit, is actually for the next page. What a dork face. Anyway, comments about how you think it turned out. There's a couple of things that I'm not happy with and might change in the end, but that is true for every page, and that's going to be like a next stage of this journal after Defemorember. Right now, I am just focusing on my story creation in this book and the prompts that are given to us. So, more to come in the making process. Let's see how this is. Well, it certainly isn't dry because I can see a couple of puddles on it still. But I bet it's dry enough as far as I'm concerned, because I don't want to overfuss. I don't want to overfuss. My videos get long enough already. I'm past a quarter of the way through my usual time, and I've barely touched a background, for crying out loud. Okay, so now I'm going to try something that I believe, honestly, I'm not kidding you, I believe this is going to fail. So you might say, why are you trying it anyway? Well, because I don't really know it's going to fail, and because, like I said, this is me learning a thing. Is this the one I was going to do? Yeah, it is. Okay, so there is a tree stencil that I have, and I want it about there-ish, not fully on the page. Here is another tree stencil I have, and we're going to do them separate. We're going to do that one next. I kind of forgot what I was doing here, but I'm pulling out an infusion called Rocky Road, and I'm going to push this down. Some of this is going to get muddled, and I don't really want it totally muddled, but I know that it's going to happen, so let's just find out. I'm going to sprinkle. This is not sprinkling properly. Hey. Okay. I'm going to sprinkle Rocky Road. There we go. This one's really full. I'm going to sprinkle Rocky Road on this tree, and then we're going to activate it. And obviously it's tree branches, so I don't care how brown it turns. That's fine. But I do want to get enough brown out. Good grief, man. Let's see. Ooh, look at that color. I like that color. Okay. That's it right there. Now I'm going to pull over the future collage sheet and take this off. What do we get? We get a pretty good hint of a tree. Branches. If this was supposed to be a photograph, I would have taken a photograph. We got a hint of a tree. I'll take it. All right. This is all turning out very dark. That's not exactly what I was hoping for. But I don't know that it's going to be terrible either, so we're just going to keep going. You know, I found out that actually through Zentangle, I love Zentangle so much. If you make a mistake, just keep doing that same thing. Because now it's not a mistake. It's a feature. Decorate it, accentuate it, continue, repeat it, whatever it is. Okay, I'm going to try to soak up some of the extra on the blotter paper. It looks like the other side of the page is going to have to be covered also. I'm not sure with what, but oh, look at that. Okay, that's kind of what I wanted. Okay. Okay. I'm liking it so far. Now this one. This is trickier because for this one I really want something a little more defined, and I'm not really sure how to do that. You know what I could do? I could pull out my, I only have clear gesso here. I could pull out some gesso. I'm going to pull out some gesso, and I don't even know where my palette knife is, but let's just go on the side right here and put some Rocky Road in it first. And that's way more than I need for like 50 of these trees. But what if I turn some gesso into a brown color? And because I don't know where my palette knife is, I'm actually just going to finger paint this right in. This is way paler than I want it to be, but I'm going to try something. So right now I have some of the brown gesso that I just made going into the leaf part of the tree. I don't care about that either. If you do, you'll want to do something much more careful than what you're seeing me do. I'm telling ya, because I'm making a big fat mess of this. But I don't care because I'm going to put another color over the leaf area. And I'm okay if they blend together. There's zero of what I'm doing is looking for perfection. Absolutely zero. Alright, I'm going to assume that those are the main branches of this, and then I'm going to do this. I'm going to put some sprinkles on. I'm hoping that I can now run my finger over this and it will create some streakiness, streaky color, and it'll look bark-ish. Let's find out if I'm right. Okay. Oh, I missed some root pieces. I'm not sure what I'll do there. Maybe nothing. Again, I'm overworking it. Just step away, lady. Okay, we're stepping away. All right, I'm going to do the same sort of concept with a different green. So, oh, whoops. Oops. I might actually, that's ridiculous. I'm actually going to try to put some back without getting color in there. Can I do that? I can. Ooh, not too shabby. That's all I'll try though, because I don't think I'll be so lucky. All right, I have another green color. It's called Emerald Isle. We're gonna shake some in there. Oh, that comes out way better than the Emerald Isle, or than the Rocky Road did. Oh, look at that green. Okay, we're gonna do the green. So what I'm doing is sort of like a texture paste deal, right? but I don't know where my texture paste is, and I don't know where my palette knife is. So, basically because I was rearranging a bunch of stuff in my studio, and I never actually finished. And then December came around, and I wanted to be sure to do this, and I got myself knee deep in the birth month journals I was making at the time, and I just never finished. So I have, when December's over, I have a plan for January too, but someday I will get back to blarg words. Someday I will get back to figuring out where my stuff is and where it goes, and organizing this studio. Okay, exact same thing as the trunk of the tree. I started to do too much green over the branches and the trunk of the tree, and I hope I didn't wreck it. I hope I didn't, because I peeked at the trunk. You saw that. I don't know if you guys could see it either also, because I didn't look at the... Oh, this is not working. This is not working. The leaves are not working out, guys. I don't know what to do here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say whatever. I'm going to call it done anyway. I have an idea. So the tree looks way blobby right now on your screen and on my page, or to the live eye, in-person eye. There we go. It looks ridiculous. It looks way blobby. I made some mistakes. I was pushing too hard when I was pushing the green gesso on. So I'm going to do a couple of things. Number one, I gotta wait for this to dry. Number two, I gotta tone the whole thing down a bit. It's, I don't know if you've noticed, but it's a little exuberant. And exuberant is not my taste. And let's see what we're gonna get. Oh, I kind of like what's happening here. I like this. Well, that's kind of cool. Okay. I am going to regret not coming fully prepared, because I pulled out gesso and now I have gesso on this stencil, but I do not have a water bin next to me. If you do this kind of thing ever, look at me. If you ever do this kind of thing, take your rings off if you want them to not look like a mess, and keep a bin of water to put these in, because the gesso will dry and be extraordinarily hard to get off. I'm going to actually pause the video and let some drying happen and go clean up my disaster, and I'll be right back and we'll see how that tree's going to turn out. Okay, so I am back. I washed up myself a little bit. I'm a little discolored. I dried the picture that we're working on right now. I know that it looks like a big fat muddled mess. That is not failed to catch my attention. I do have some idea of sky and ground. I do have some idea of tree and tree. That's what I wanted to have happen. This is not exactly the results I would have liked, you know, 100%. but I'm so far relatively happy, and I have no idea how this is going to end up. So I'm not gonna judge just yet. So, I think we're going to wait for this stencil because I need something I don't have at hand right now. The next thing I need to do is figure out how to fix this tree. And there's a couple of different things I could do. One of them is with Distress Oxide, and it's sitting right here. So, I think... Oh, I'm nervous. I think I'm going to try this right on the paper. I am running, well, you see what I'm doing. I'm running my whole Distress Oxide pad right over the tree. Why would I do such a thing? Because the leaves and such are a little bit raised. So they should a little bit catch the ink more than the rest of the page. Now I'm going to spray. And let's see what happens. My hope is that one or the other color of green that I just did sinks into the grooves and helps the leaves show up more. The texture of the tree, right? That actually is kind of happening. So I got to stand it up a little bit and I got to spray a little more. But I'll show you in just a second what I mean. Come on. Alright, first I'll refill my tiny spray bottle. You know why it's not working? Because it's empty. Silly goose. Alright, let me do that. Ooh. And let's go this way too. I'm spraying everything on my desk. Every single thing on my desk is soggy now. And I may have just ruined my trees. I may have just ruined everything. I tilted it sideways and I didn't want to, and now all the water is going into the first tree because I tilted in the wrong direction. Okay, we're going to use side 2 of our blotter paper. It's not actually not blotter paper, it's actually just paper that I'm using as a blotter. Yeah, I ruined the whole concept. I no longer have a tree at all. I guess that's actually not ruined though, because now I can just go back in, do it again. Oh my. Oh my. Let me get this lined up properly. There we go. Get this lined up properly, and I'm gonna do, you know what, I'm gonna do the exact same thing and see if I can just do better at it. So, rawr, rawr. So there are the branches, and again, I'm just leaving that base in there, right? Don't overprocess this time. And go in with Emerald Isle on the leaf departments. And don't overprocess and don't spread it into the branches any more than you have to. I mean, a little bit is going to happen no matter what. It's a tree, after all. Boy, this looks better already. Okay, ready? Oh, much better. That's what I want. Now we've kind of muckied up that puppy too. And I don't want to go over and fix this whole thing and do it again, but I am going to add a little definition if I can. Because I muckied it up more than I wanted to. So, just on the top part, here, let's protect like that-ish. Just on the top part, I want to get some water and some Rocky Road. And then we're going to step away. I might have to adjust the opening on the Rocky Road bottle. It just does not want to come out very easily. Did we get some definition? A little bit, and that's what I want, because that tree is supposed to be farther away. And then, look what we have. We have another part to put on. Oh, and I slid it around. I didn't want to do that. Here we go. Good enough. Good enough. Put that over there to dry. Put those over there to get washed. And put this over here because this is what we're working on. This tree is not a winter tree. It is actually a summer tree. So it's going to need some leaves happening. I do still want it to be fairly abstract. So, there we go. I'm going to start with that right there. We'll do Emerald Isle again. And quite a lot. That was a lot. But I'm going to try something different. Gosh darn it, I'm trying a lot of things today. I'm going to spray it with this shimmer spray and see if I can get shimmery green leaves on the faraway tree. It's not, there we go. It wasn't getting in a certain part of the leaves. Can I do it? Well, sorta. And again, I'm going to put this on this paper. That's kind of cool. Is there more? There is more. More. This needs another one though. This needs another. I think I'll do it right like that. Emerald Isle. Lots of it. Shimmer spray. I don't have a clue what that's going to end up being like. I don't like this shimmer spray bottle. I like the shimmer spray, but the bottle, this sprayer is just lousy. And I sprayed way too much shimmer spray on here, and my leaves are a big muddy mess. That's what I do. I wasn't kidding when I said I overprocess everything. I overdo everything. I have to must learn. I can't words properly either. I have to learn some finesse. There, I've turned that whole tree into an abstract corner. Not what I wanted to do at all. But guess what that means? That means no matter how badly things turn out, you can always start over. I don't want that there. I'm gonna try again to at least get some branches in there. I at least want to get some branches up there, and I gotta stop fussing if I want this to work out at all. So if you're out there and you're watching this, say, lady, quit your fussing. Ouch. The stencil is so difficult. It's so, the details are so fine. I might just leave it at what I've done right now. Ooh, this is a different concept. Hey, I learned a thing. I might have learned a thing. Let's look. I'm going to leave it like that. I can't tell if it looks like a tree or blood vessels, but either way, we're getting a branchy sort of thing. Okay. So I think that the shimmer spray on the infusions would have worked if I had not oversprayed. And, oh, look at that. Can you see that? Let me look. Yes. Oh, wow. Yeah, I can. The shimmer spray is still in the background. So this paper is actually looking pretty cool. I'm going to leave it for a bit because I got to stop over processing. Oh, look at me. I'm also very shimmery. Let's talk about what's happening in the story and where the friendship bracelet page is going. I gotta grab a couple of little pieces that are going on this page. So, last we met for Vintage Meets Modern, it was springtime. The babies were kind of getting around, not ready to leave the nest. And Effie was in his house contemplating all of the wonderful things that had been going on lately. The friends, the group of friends, just spent the springtime taking care of the babies together and hanging out together and having fun. And sooner or later, spring started turning into summer. And as spring started turning into summer, the boys grew and grew. And actually so did their baby sister, but she needs more time. So Effie was sad to see the boys go, and so was their little sister. She wanted to go too, but she wasn't big enough yet. So Effie made everybody friendship bracelets. The boys each got one of their own color, and the little baby girl stayed home with her mom a little longer and stayed with her friend Effie a little longer. Look how big she's gotten. Look how big she's gotten. And she gets a friendship bracelet that has the same colors as all of her brothers, only hers is all in one. She gets a friendship bracelet of all the colors. So she can think of all of her brothers, even though they've gone away for a while. So there is what is going to happen with this page. The boys are moving out. They're going to find their own tree. Effie and the baby girl. Maybe all my ravens need names. I need 4 boy raven names and 1 girl raven name. And not Raven, because that's just silly. That's the first thing I thought of is, why don't you just name her Raven? No, not doing it. Anyways, I am going to, I think I'll pause again. Gosh, I'm sorry. I mean, I guess it doesn't really bother you, right? Because it's like a half a second to you. I'm going to pause again. I am going to work on edging these guys and some coloring, because see the white on the one with the boys? I want that white gone, but it's too tiny to cut out. So I'm going to have to color some blue sky behind these guys. And they all have their friendship bracelets on. In this case, I guess they're friendship necklaces, but this needs some edging and this needs some coloring, and that's going to be kind of a trippy to pull off. I'm going to go give it a try. And I'm also going to let this dry because I think we need to do some lightening up on it, and I think I have ideas for how to do that. So I'll be right back and we'll do all those things. Hey there. So I am not done with being on pause because I'm going to have to let what I'm doing right now dry before I continue very much to the end. And I want you to see what happens to Effie, and you know, I want you to see the friendship bracelet part of the whole deal, since that is today's prompt. But I thought I would just own up to what I'm doing in public. So I told you I want to lighten this up a little bit, and I have decided that I'm going to take even more risk with this page and see what happens if I just take some yellow watercolor and dab it on these sides. I have really cheap watercolors, guys. Like, this is like little kid grade school level watercolors, so there's not a lot of pigment here. But I thought about sunshine going through the trees, right? So I don't mind that this is really dark. Gosh darn it, it's not working at all. Come on, yellow, wake up. Anyways, I thought about sunshine going through the trees, and even when it's a dark forest, there are usually beams of sunshine that will go through. That's totally not working. I kind of thought it might be a push because these don't have a lot to them. I'll be right back. We're going to try something different. Okay, so this also might be a big risk. It's only paper, but we're going to try a gelato. I have a yellow gelato. It's a deep yellow, right? But whatever. So I'm just going to take my gelato and run it right across there to do the top down, and then right across here to do the bottom up. So a gelato is a water reactive crayon, right? So I'm not sure how this is going to go. That's way too much water. That's one thing. And all it did was soak up all the other colors and get muddy. I thought I had everything dry enough to not do that. I thought I was past the reactive stage. I thought I dried it enough. I'm going to put on a lot less water and see if I can just lighten things up by doing this. Look at all the crazy colors that are in there. You saw everything you've seen everything I've done so far. I did not use any orange. I did not use any red. I didn't even use any yellow until just now. And all this yellow came before that. It's crazy, man. Now I'm going to try the same thing I just did on the bottom up here. A lot less water and a lot more purposeful spreading. It's not what I wanted. I like when I can just let it run around, but I mean, you can't expect to know how to get what you want until you've tried it a few times. Gosh, I like this. I like the way this is turning out. Not this tree specifically because it's getting too muddled and I wanted it to show up a little bit more than it is. But I like the whole effect of the project so far. And I like learning the effect of the infusions. That is seriously lightened up and I love that. Let's do that and let's do it on the bottom as well. Try not to muck up the main event tree, and I didn't. I'm happy with this. This is going to be good, I think. I think this is going to be good. I'm going to pause again just so I can dry this one more time, and then we'll finish it. Okay. I've not completely dried this. I think actually that shows up fairly clearly in the picture, but I have dried it as much as I care to because I am getting tired and I want to move on. I have pulled out, oh my gosh, look at me. I have pulled out one of my favorite Jelly Roll pens and I am going to see if I can add some highlights to the leaves. And look at that, I can. So I'm going to highlight just a speck on a bunch of the leaves in this tree in the foreground. Because when something's in the foreground, it's going to show more detail. And I've done something very kind of muddled, abstractist-ish. Maybe not abstract, maybe more impressionist. Give myself a lofty title and say it's impressionist art, right? But I can enhance the bits without taking away from the abstractness. So, I'm doing this on the left side of whatever areas I'm choosing to do it to. There we go. I don't usually care where light sources are coming from and that sort of thing because I've never really, studied enough to pay attention how light plays on stuff. And it plays differently on glass and crystal than it does on a tree or leaves, and how it comes through a tree is going to reflect differently than if it's direct. And goodness sakes, it's just stuff that I haven't studied and I'm not gonna, right? So I usually don't really care where the light comes from when I do this sort of thing. But if I do them all on one side, like in this case, the left side, at least there's some continuity. People who are actual artists, they're, I mean, I'm just being a little silly, but people who study art and are much more precise and learned will look at my stuff and go, that's ridiculous. But for me, this is good enough. Good enough. I keep wiping it on my hand because it keeps getting gummed up from the crystals and the stuff in the infusions. This is very bumpy. You know what I should have done, and I still might. No, I can't because I'm going to finish this. But what I should have done is this background piece and then clear gessoed and then tried to do my lightening up the background. It would have worked much better. But, constraints of single shot videos meant I'm going to learn some stuff and do it all at once. So really dark. I got some details on the leaves. I might do that some more down the road, but like the other pages, right? They all are going to get some adjustment in a whole different series of videos. You'll see how I do things to finish up projects if you have any interest in that. What? All right, let's get back to our story, I guess. Get these pieces in place. So it's moving day. The boys are moving out. Their baby sister is sad. She's not ready to go to her own home. Amber is at home and or flying around and out helping the boys search for their new place to be. Well, Effie is hanging out with Ember. No, Effie is hanging out with the baby. Oops. Come here, guys. So, Effie had made these friendship bracelets for moving day and gave the little sister one too because she'll move out someday. And so she can always be thinking of her brothers. So when Effie chose the colors for the bracelets, which ended up being necklaces because, you know, they're ravens. And their bracelets would be in their way when they were trying to catch dinner and would be super tiny, and Effie made them too big. So, but Effie picked the colors by thinking of Mom, Ember, and before he knew her, when he used to watch her flying through the air, when the sun would catch her wings and her feathers in general, I guess. These gorgeous, her feathers are black, but these gorgeous colors would show up. And he was just amazed at the magical colors that showed up in her feathers. And he made one of the best colors that he liked in that for each of the boys. And then he took the 4 colors and made one for their baby sister. I am not at all sure how this page is going to turn out to be anything for a junk journal. Because I'm not turning any of this stuff into pockets or tuck spots. I'm not fancy gluing, so it can be used later. I think this is going to end up being a finished product, so I don't think there's going to be space to put pockets and what have you. I don't really know. Oh, let's move her over a little bit. It looks like she is just standing on the roots of a tree. That's kind of cool. I like that. I'm going to have to give Effie a place to be standing. I had never made a friendship bracelet before in my life. So I learned how to make them and made a friendship bracelet that I then had to cut up and whatever because I made it entirely too big for this baby bird. But I learned a thing. I like learning a thing. There we go. There we go. She has her necklace on. All the boys are leaving their little sister and she's so sad. Let's pull out the white jelly roll. No, this is the gold jelly roll. I just want to make it so you can see where her brothers are as opposed to where the tree is. So I'm just going to put a little bit of that sunshine highlight on the same side as the leaves, right? So it seems the sun is coming from over here somewhere because everything I'm doing seems to be that way. Except for, you know, knocking my glue off the desk into the garbage. That's always not helpful. All right, let me see how that looks. Yeah, we just set them off a little bit so you can see where they're sitting. They're about to take off with their mom and go find perfect trees to build their perfect nests in. And Effie's going to hang out with the little sister. I have to let this dry and set up some more before I continue. I think there's more to happen on this. Just like there's more to happen on every page. And I've already said that too many times today. One of the things we can do, though, is give Effie a place to stand. Poor Effie's got nothing to stand on. Here we go. Just a little scribble idea of where Effie can be. Let's here, let's take this off of here so we can see the page on its own without all that extra disaster area. In fact, let's steal the journal out from under my kitty, who was just holding on to it for us, I'm sure. And let's put it in here. It can sit right here to dry. I may have warped the page a little bit. It doesn't want to fit right back on the rings properly. Okay, today was an exercise in overboard. Let's just do way too much of all the things. Story-wise, I'm happy with this. Looks-wise, I don't know. It remains to be seen. I'm going to step away, and we'll come back to this, and we'll see if it turns into anything we're in love with. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next time, and please leave comments. Tell me how you liked today's experiment page, and how do you think this one turned out? Right? Good grief. Good grief, guys. I'm going a little crazy on the art lately. Bye!